Good afternoon. I hope you all have enjoyed your lunch. And we're going to get ready to start the lunch program that focuses on the arts, but not just the arts, but how the arts can help us to understand our history and to heal, and also to demonstrate really specific ways that we've worked in the communities with visual art, with dance, with poetry, and then have you all to have a talk back afterwards where you can ask and any of us questions about the work that we've been doing. So first you'll see two pieces from a project I did a few years ago called Dave the Potter. Then we'll hear from Colin Miller, who will talk about his work with prison art and beyond. And then we'll finish with a piece from the Women of Consequence, which is another project that we worked on together. So we're going to start first with a video. And I don't know if I should wait a few minutes for people to come in. What do you think, Rita? Huh? Okay. All right. So, well, I'll start just talking about, as I mentioned in the opening, that the work that I've been doing has incorporated dance, but it's also incorporated a lot of other art forms. And a lot of people have been involved in these projects. When we started on the Dave Drake project, Dave the Potter, actually it was a collaboration with Gabrielle Foreman, who is a literary historian here. And we had original poetry and music and visual art. And the visual art that you're going to see that's a part of the first two pieces by Jonathan Green from South Carolina. And he learned about Dave's life and created these beautiful paintings to represent that life. We're not going to do the whole production here, only a couple pieces. So the first one is called Field Cotton, and the image you'll see is Edgefield. And here is Jonathan Green's painting that's used as a backdrop for the cotton dance. So cotton fields in bloom are as gorgeous as the artwork that you're going to see, but the painting does not give credit to what went into making these gorgeous fields and cotton. Our research, and it's always informed by, we call this arts-based research, our research on cotton plantation slavery was used to help find kind of the darker side of this painting and properly portray it through original dance, poetry, and music. Dave Drake lived near cotton plantations all his life, but once he became an accomplished potter. So this Dave Drake, this potter, he created all these pots. He was enslaved, and he was supposed to be pretty much illiterate, but he wrote poetry on his pots, and now those pots are all over the world. Now, as an artisan, as a potter, he never would have faced the future of picking cotton, but certainly he was affected by it, his family and friends. So the piece you're about to see begins with various families who awaken to begin the day, and before heading to the fields, as we know, enslaved people had to ready their homes and prepare their meals, usually consisting of unseasoned corn cakes. Harvest would begin in August, go as far as February, but sometimes could end as early as December. So cotton comes, so the enslaved workers would start picking at daybreak, and this is what is portrayed in this piece, and sometimes worked late into the night, depending on the urgency of the overseer. At the end of each day, the cotton would be weighed on a simple scale. Now, if an enslaved worker did not pick enough cotton, he or she was punished. And if someone picked more cotton than the day before, he would be expected to pick the same amount. So the dancers, you'll see, are performing the anxiety and fear that comes with the cotton weighing every night. And we choreograph the reason of why this fear was so heavy. So our first piece is a video. We have on one screen, you'll see Jonathan Green's Edgefield painting of the cotton, and on the other screen, the actual piece. And then this will be followed by Dream of Freedom, and I will introduce that piece. So we'll start. Are we all ready? Okay, thank you.
We stand not on the edge, but in the middle of the field, in between this white blaze that God made. Our minds not fixed on the North Star, but grounded to the weight in our bones as we pick, prick, and bleed. Dragged from what seems like Genesis to Revelation, we are bred and wed to this cotton spur hold. We sing hymns like Still Away, but we know these songs be the only thing we'll ever know of wings. How can something so comely turn so ugly? When greed wraps his hand around the land, cotton becomes a field of lies, acting like the truth. This cotton crop got too many mouths, works us from can't see to can't see. With 2 cotton sacks strapped across our backs, we forget how we once dreamed to be turned up like sunflowers in praise, or how we once prayed to be woven to a greater whole, linked by the right hand of fellowship, singing, "How do you do, sir? How do you do, sir?" We know nothing about freedom in this heat. We got a blind eye and a deaf ear to everything except to what's at hand. Cotton, running in straight rows, the only train we was ever meant to ride. Got a blind eye and a deaf ear to everything except to what's at hand. Cotton, running in straight rows, the only train we was ever meant to ride.
Freedom. This is another piece from the Dave the Potter suite. And the image you'll see is called From Earth We Came. These are the images, as well as images of people being sold. So Dream of Freedom is a dance, and it's about a slave auction, where a young woman dreams of freedom, a dream that includes friends and children, but it is only a dream. And so Dave's couplet, as I mentioned, Dave Drake wrote poetry on his pots. His couplet, I wonder where is all my relations. This echoes through this piece. you. We're going to move to music now. Colin Miller. He is the Director for Global Arts in the College of Arts and Sciences and is responsible for the Art Bridging Cultures and Artist in Residency program. And he teaches courses on music of the Global South and holds a joint appointment at the Institute for Global Studies. So he's going to share with us some work that he's been doing. And I can stop talking because he's here now.
Just need to get that.
Okay. Yeah, he also was the one who shared his beautiful guitar music with us earlier today. So thank you, Colin.
My guitar's over there. So, moving on. Thank you, Lynette. And maybe just briefly, I found this day so far quite extraordinary. Thanks. And I guess I say that especially when you all were sharing your personal experience, your personal life experience, because I felt so close to it in a way that I grew up in South Africa, and you know, South Africa is the epitome, represents the epitome of apartheid, the system really of what many of the discussions were about here today. And hearing you share your experiences reminded me some way of my own experiences too, of growing up in South Africa. I'm so-called colored in South Africa until 1994 when we were first allowed to vote. That placed me in a very particular place. And you know, among my many experiences was until, I share this with people because until 87, beaches, public amenities were separate. And I remember going to the beach one day with my family and the police arriving and removing all of us black people from the beach. That was what is happening as recent as 87. So to hear people share their experiences was great. In South Africa, I worked with community organizations, particularly where we use music as a tool to change our society. And I've given the opportunity to do that here at the University of Delaware. And I found a great partnership to do that, working with the Partnership for Arts and Culture with Lynette Overby and the Community Engagement Initiative. And that's what I'm going to briefly talk about and present here today. I think Lynette mentioned something when she was talking about her experience of how the arts can move us into action. And that's very much what I've been doing all my life, whether I'm playing the guitar or whether I'm actively involved in projects where the arts really do change our realities and addresses a whole range of issues and around social justice. Particularly today, there are many art forms that do that, but one that is very powerful, and I talk about it and I teach it in my Popular Music for the Global South course, is hip-hop culture. And it's a very powerful expression. And in hip-hop culture, there are these various elements, and I think rap is one of the most powerful. So recently, with the Partnership of Arts and with PAC, I teamed up with someone who you may know if you live in Wilmington or in Delaware, Richard Raw. Richard Raw is a community activist. He's a musician. He's a rapper. And Richard runs a project titled, he's the founder of Cultural Restoration Project. And within that, he has a program called Beyond Those Bars, hip-hop-based educational program. Richard and I worked together last year with kids at the Hicks Anderson Community Center and then the Kingswood Center. And if time allows, I have a video, a music video that was produced with these kids in that setting. And it was a very successful project. We worked with kids between the ages of 10 and 15, 16 during the summer. And they produced this extraordinary music video. And the theme for that music video was the Underground Railroad. So we used, again, hip-hop culture, rap music, to talk about history and to get these young people to reflect on the Underground Railroad, and particularly in Delaware. And beyond that, this summer, another conversation started again through the Partnership of Arts and Culture and the people that you meet there. So in that way, it's an extraordinary networking place. In talking with some of the partners, the Delaware Institute for Arts and Education had this idea of doing something together, and we started talking about presenting something, again, using hip-hop culture with the visual arts, with the music, words, and so on. We approached the Newcastle County Detention Center with this idea to take hip-hop into that space and use that as a tool to talk to issues and to talk about social justice and to get these young boys who are in these centers to reflect and using this art form. Briefly, the outcome of that, and I'll just share this with you. Rap is defined as a spoken word art form of rhyming poetry over beats, and we hear that all the time. Unfortunately, rap has also so many negative connotations today. But I need to say that that's what we hear out there. That's the commercial rap that gets promoted on radios. It's misogynistic. And so often when we talk about rap, that's what comes to mind. Most of rap is not about that. Most of rap, the commercial rap, most of it we don't get to hear. It kind of dominated by a certain business on what needs to sell. But most young people use rap in a very different way. And the way they use it is to communicate their realities. I say that, and again, back to my Popular Music of the Global South course, I look at hip-hop culture in Brazil, South Africa, the Caribbeans, and young people use this form all the time to talk to their realities. So that's what we used with these kids in the center, within the detention center. And the end product, which I'll share with you now, was a song and audio. This is an audio recording. It's a very rough, it's nothing, it's not treated in any way. It's a very rough take. But I think the power of it are the words that these kids wrote. The setting is very interesting. The setting was the library, the detention center library, with kids coming through over a series of weeks doing workshops as a group. And Richard Raw conducted most of these workshops, and he was quite extraordinary in getting these kids to go into themselves and to talk about how they feel, what they're living. And when I stepped into that space with Richard, I kind of expected what I found, because I've worked in these spaces before. But it again confirmed. The kids in the room were all black. They were between the ages of 13 and 18, and these were black boys, right? And so again, okay, this is the reality. When we started talking about education, there was no even desire, because they felt locked out anyway, any opportunity to go further. So this was the kind of kids we were working with. These kids are in there, they second offenders, and so they've been put into this place, which, as the detention center describes itself on its website, it's a 64-bedlock secure facility serving pre-adjudicated males and females under the ages of 18. The facility is accredited by the American Correctional Association, nationally recognized organization that sets standards for adults in juvenile correction facilities. Several types of programs are available: HIV prevention, aggression resistance, drug education, and they also offer practical life lessons in using the arts, dance. So with that in mind, we hooked onto that and said, well, let's see what we can do with hip-hop. I don't think they were very sure about it in the beginning because, as I say, hip hop has a kind of reputation of. But we did do it, and the outcome was this extraordinary piece of music, which the kids workshopped over a series of weeks, and a few of them agreed to record. The music is rap, and you'll hear it now. It was created with, they workshopped and they created the beat themselves too. So the setting was the library, and all we had was an iPad, a microphone, and the kids. And their experience, which they put to words. And I'm just going to briefly, the words are up there, but I'm going to pull out a few very briefly that I thought was quite meaningful. When the kids talk about it, and the different verses are different kids sharing their experience. The title of the piece is People Don't Understand My Dreams. What stands out when I look at this, when I read through the lyrics, and I'm just pulling out some of the sentences. In the very first verse, the kid mentions, I lost my brother. I'm sitting in detention. Pain I was feeling. But all the verses, I'm going to change my life. That's what they inspire to do. They want something different. The second verse, similarly, change the world, I wish I could. The third verse, another kid, mom's out here crying, bad people in disguise, trying to take people's lives. That's their reality. It's violence, it's crime, it's struggle. Another kid, my mom's suffering with the bulls. Why these people pop pills? And so on. And right at the end also, I'm on the way to them bars. So these kids in a way know there's very little hope for them. You know, they're already anticipating a life of back behind bars. It's a lot of odds to the face, but we ain't letting up. So that's what came out of this workshop. I think it was quite extraordinary, giving these kids an opportunity to talk about their reality, using an art form that they're very familiar with, and being allowed to do it in that context. Kevin, fine. This is the piece.
People don't understand my dreams. 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 Westside Wilmington, that's them trenches. Growing up, I was a victim. Lot of crime that I had witnessed. Yeah. No, I ain't saying that I'm innocent, but I was in a messed up predicament. I lost my brother, not to mention, while I was sitting in detention. All this pain I was feeling, that made me a better man, because I ended up with a plan. I'ma change my life. No, I don't care what the price is. I move fast like lightning. Move fast like lightning. People don't understand my dreams. 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 I wanna make it out the hood. They say I'm misunderstood. Change the world, I wish I could. Thinking if I really should. Thinking if I really should. Thinking if I really should. You don't understand the things, yeah. You don't understand the things that we've been through, man. I just wanna make a change, yeah. Change the way how we been living. People out here dying, moms out here crying. Bad people in disguise, trying to take people's lives. Like, why can't we just live a good life and change the way how we been living?
But my mom sucker with the bills. Yeah, tryna get a half of a meal. Yeah, tired of why these people pop pills. Yeah, me, I'm just trying to get a deal. Yeah, why these people gotta go and kill? Why they gotta go and kill? Can I give you something you can feel? Yeah. I think my city needs something real. I think my city needs something real. Yeah.
I swear I need a different scene. People don't believe in me. All I need is my team. Tryna see no funny things. Like Tom Brady, I need that ring on top of the throne just like a king.
Give me a job or something. I'm trying to switch up my plans. Find a couple ways to run up some bands. Run our cash up just like quicksand. Me and my boys, we gon' take the lead. Don't take the street, we gon' chase this dream. Shit to the code just like a cheat. Don't sit there and slouch, just get on your feet. I'm trying to run mine now. I'm on a...
Thank you. That's just a taste of, what came out of that. How are we doing for the time, Lynette? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to take that as 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. So, this was one of the projects that as I say, came about as my work with Richard Raw through the partnerships of arts and culture. Another very interesting one, which again I will share with you briefly for 2 minutes, was a rap video that we did with kids at Kingswood in the summer, I mentioned earlier, and using the theme of the Underground Railroad. I'll just share a snippet of this with you, and to show you what kind of, the power of hip hop and music, and getting people to talk and learn and talk about history too. Thanks, Kevin.
Wino got the recipe.
Lead me, running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Someone please lead me to freedom. I have no choice but to run cause I cannot beat them.
Trying to get away, they trying to make me stay. I'm trying to run away, so I'ma run away. Going door to door, sleeping on the floor. Next day, I'll be knocking at your door.
Delaware was the last state before freedom. Slavery was there for the longest. My dream to be a ping pong is still dead. Sleeping in a bed, barely even fed. That's what I said.
Running underground, Thomas Garrett freeing over 2,000 slaves he freed. Harriet told my parents. He's in my mind, still thinking now we did it. We running, trying to get to a safe house, hoping they won't find us, hoping they won't find us. Brother was shot by a shotgun, still running in the woods, they catching us. We gotta run faster and faster, cause we were some masters. I'm one of the lastest, I gotta catch up.
Lead me, running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Someone please lead me to freedom. I have no choice but to run cause I cannot beat them.
They wanna make me stay, but I gotta get free. No more getting wet, no more sleeping in the streets. I can be a king, running to my throne. Heading cold and see freedom, yeah, I'm heading home.
Trying to run away from the white folks. They bring us over here on dark boats. Stacked us in here like we were totes. Trying to run away, wishing I could float. Don't wanna die, trying to stay alive. When I get to your house, I'ma hide. Not trying to get caught or be bought. Trying to learn something, trying to be taught.
Sick of all the change, sick of all the pain. Sick of seeing dead and human remains. Running to the north, where I can't be found. Fist in the air, I stand my ground.
Lead me, running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Someone please lead me to freedom. I have no choice but to run cause I cannot beat them.
If I could get to Wilmington, I could be free. Running through Maryland, I hope I could be free. 400 years, blood, sweat, and tears. About to be black, I have no fear.
running underground, all through the filthy water. I'm tired of being a slave, I wanna get my life in order. I'm so tired of saying no sir and yes ma'am. We are no different, equality is what I demand. I'm so tired of getting beaten, hung. I don't wanna get whipped again, that really stung. I'ma tell you how this all got started, but the road to freedom was so heavily guarded. The woman, her name was Harriet Tubman. She wanted to turn that little idea into something, so she started planning and plotting, because we sick of just rotting. We sick of picking this cotton, and now the chains are unlocking. Lead me, lead me, lead me, lead me, running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Running through the fields to freedom. Cause you're leading me to freedom, yeah, you're leading me to freedom. Someone please lead me to freedom. I have no choice but to run, cause I cannot beat them.
Thank you, Colin. Great work. Our last piece, before we have a really short talk back, is called Nikki, Angela, and Me. And this is from our Women of Consequence project. And through speeches and poetry, women like Nikki Giovanni and Angela Davis have shined a light on the inequities experienced by women everywhere. And Rachel DeLauder, right here, she adapted their words to bring a renewed focus on the plight of African American women whose light was snuffed out as victims of police brutality. Nikki, Angela, and Me.
Freedom is a constant struggle. Freedom is a constant struggle. We've marched so long. We've cried so long. We've fought so long. We must be free. We must be free. We must be free. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was death, and the Word was color, and the Word was death to all color, and the Word was death to all life. Peace, be still. In the name of peace, they waged war. America was born. A war became peace and genocide, patriotism, making the world safer democracy for 20 million slaves.
Obey your will.
A great emancipation left years in the air of reconstruction and decades of struggle for righteousness left our black able bodies most wanted. Martyred, slain, incarcerated without justice. Now, may it give them shame. In the beginning was the deed, and the deed was death. And America was getting confused. All lives matter, they say. Make America great again, they say. But that's my place at the table. And I stand up with this It's the women that do what is called, who stand up, who plant the seed. Domestic workers, educators, mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunties, cousins, certified queens. Let guide us through these trenches of embedded isms that remind us that we
The winds and the
are
waves.
free. And let us not forget
Bless
our
God.
responsibilities that we are advocates of
Shall
peace,
obey your will.
race, gender, sexual equality. Because
And
it's
all
the
you've got
women
to
who
say,
walk with courage, the agents who fight
Lord
for
Jesus.
all, no longer
Peace be
immune to the
still.
ravages of capitalism,
Let's go.
will make the ultimate sacrifice Kid Boy, we speak your name. Corinne Gaines, we speak your name. Ah, brothers and sisters, ain't we ever gonna see the light?
Wait, stay. You all stay. Stay. Come back up. I want to introduce you all. Okay. Deanna. Okay. So, I forgot it was Mike. So our next few minutes, we have a few minutes. We're actually going to bring Colin up, also Michael Kalmbach from the Creative Vision Factory, and two of the performers for a really brief talk back. But I did want you to meet our performers. So, talk loud.
Hi, my name is Melissa Jones. I'm a graduating senior studying hotel restaurant institutional management with a minor in dance. And upon graduation, I'm going to be a financial risk auditor for LRA by Deloitte. And I'm the co-rehearsal director for Soul.
Hi, my name is April Singleton. I'm an entrepreneurship major with a concentration in nonprofit leadership. And I am currently Dr. Overby's research assistant. So I've helped make a website if you guys want to look it up. It's sharingourlegacy.org.
Hi, my name is Amber Rance. I am a junior. I am a health behavior science major with a minor in disability studies, and I am a choreographer and researcher in Soul. Hi, my name is Diana Roberto. I am a PhD student in the Urban Affairs and Public Policy program. I am also a research assistant and performer in Sharing Our Legacy's Dance Theater.
Hi, my name is Rachel DeLauder. I am an exercise science major. I double minor in theater and dance. I am a graduating senior here at UD, and I hate microphone. And I will be attending Drexel University in their master's program, studying dance and physical therapy, dance science, and I'm also co-rehearsal director for Soul. And I also am a choreographer, research, and scholar artist for this project. So, thank you.
Thank you all. All right, so thank you. So you all can go. Oh, I do. Does anybody have any questions or comments for the group? Hi, Carl.
Yes. You get the stuff one.
Hello. Wow. First of all, I just so honored to be here, and what a performance. It almost made me cry. So I guess the biggest question I have, particularly for the urban, how did you get those young kids to organize and produce that rap music? Was that produced here at Wilmington? Was that produced in Wilmington?
Yeah, that was the Newcastle County Detention Center in Wilmington. Yes. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. So yes, that was the Newcastle County Detention Center in Wilmington. And the question was, how do we get them to do it? They did it. And there was no, we did not decide on a theme or anything. And maybe if it's the process to getting in there to do it, I think was what really took more time than we had hoped. We needed to get all kind of permissions to work with the kids. Anyone who participated need to have to be cleared, background checks and all of that to go into the facility. So that was really the challenging part. And then once in there, again, as I mentioned, I worked with Richard Raw, and Richard has done many projects of this type. I have done others similar to this, but Richard is he's a hip-hop artist, and he's used this form previously in other communities, again, with the kids at the Kingswood Community Center. And, on the success of that project, we decided to take it somewhere else. And and proposed this idea of using hip-hop culture to talk to social justice or to young people's realities. The setting was basically, as I said, it was the library, iPad, a set of microphones, and the kids. It was very interesting for me to observe how the kids came into it. They weren't forced to participate. They could be present just as observers. But it was interesting to see once 1 or 2 or 3 kids started. We started with freestyle. Basically, one person starts, the next one follows, and then just go around like that. And so it was this group dynamic thing that developed by doing freestyle. And then some of the kids who were on the sidelines were like, I want to join this, And then Richard, once he got to know them more, started getting them to think about, what is it that you really want to talk about? What's inside of you? And that's how those lyrics came about. They weren't asked to sit down and write it. They were literally freestyling. And as they were freestyling, these feelings came out, these emotions through words, and that became the song.
I want to.
Sorry, you gotta.
Yeah. So Michael, I wanted Michael to say a few words because his artwork is digitized, and so you can mention yours.
Yeah, the Creative Vision Factory is represented here today on a monitor out front. Through a partnership with the Interdisciplinary Humanities Research Center and PAC, we had a project funded where we had a sociology course digitize and archive the artwork produced by artists at the Creative Vision Factory. And the Creative Vision Factory is like a high school art room that's ripped out of the school system and just put right in the middle of the streets of Wilmington. Lynette, when you were sharing of the importance of like that dance classroom, the high school art room was a place for me. When I was a high school senior, there's a reason why I was in that room for 3-4 periods a day. It wasn't until I became a teacher myself that I realized that I was processing a lot of things in that room. It was a safe space for me, and it was a safe space for countless students that I would see walk through that threshold. So the Creative Vision Factory has provided this place of healing, a place to really be seen, to be heard, to have some self-direction. Self-direction, mastery, and purpose, I think, are the 3 ingredients that are missing. When we talk about community integration of individuals on the behavioral health spectrum, individuals gripped by poverty, when you hang out at the Creative Vision Factory, you're going to get a snapshot as to the realities on the ground of the streets of Wilmington. And so having a place where you can share stories, where you can connect, you start to renew some agency. And it's in these low-risk kind of projects, accomplishments through artwork, that we really start to renew the agency within individuals to reshape their lives, but also their communities. And one of the videos that's playing out in the hall is of a mosaic mural that we made with the students at Stubbs Elementary School. Every Tuesday and Thursday for an entire school year, our members went into the after-school programming and taught the kids at Stubbs this technique of sgraffito tile making. And because the engagement was a year long, we really got to know the students, know the culture there, know the principal, know the teachers. A lot of our members, too, had gone there when they were kids, had family members there. You really got to commune with them. If you have the luxury of going to Stubbs, you'll be able to see this project covers the entire front lobby hallway. It was very transformative, but probably the most transformative part of it is that our members earn $15 an hour for their time on the project, and they're actually working, and we're actually presented to community partners as the experts. And so, love the celebration of arts here today, and there's just so much talent. All the assets that we need to build and renew the city are already here. And grateful to Lynette and to the university for really shining a light on us. It's through these partnerships that we can really be sustained. The arts, and as a young artist, we are always and oftentimes the handmaidens of gentrification. There is a job for us to really achieve equity, and we're seeing little parts of it throughout our artist community here in the city of Wilmington.
Are there any other questions or comments? Oh.
Thank you it was a wonderful presentation, and I've seen Women of Consequence perform before, and I'm always moved every time. One of my questions that I have, though, and this is specific to the entire panel, is oftentimes when it comes to Black cultural arts, specific to hip hop or rap culture in that regard, it can often be displayed with negative connotation when from the very beginning, oftentimes Black cultural arts were used as a way for therapy and to heal and to express. And so I would like to ask you all, what do you think that we can do, or how can we start to really dismantle some of the negative connotations and ways that we speak about Black culture and Black art? Don't all raise your hand at once.
I will, of course, say that with Black arts, it's very therapeutic for me to express how I'm feeling and what I feel like my community needs. And so I think just having that, for us, I feel like there's never a negative connotation because this is how we're expressing ourselves. But for the outside world, I feel like what we can do is always incorporate it into our classrooms and have it more arts integrational within like humanities, within the sciences, within, of course, all aspects in art. I also feel like creating more of a research project such as this, I mean, it shows all sorts of lights, all sorts of stories, but I think that's a way that it doesn't have that negative connotation. But for me, as always, it's for us, and how our community just brings together, for me, is the most important part. To me, that's the most positive, is having people come up to me and say, I love what you did, it had me thinking, it had me research, it had me use this in certain areas that I had no idea that it could go to, so.
I would also like to add that art, it mirrors life. Art is a reflection of life or society, and society is like kind of mimics art too. So it has like this bicyclical relationship with what's going on in the world. And so one of the things is like we have to dismantle these structures of inequity in our society and that is going to be replicated in the art, in the way we perceive art, but also we need to be open to using art as a way to engage in conversations about inequity and social justice issues. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in a little bit. My friend Chris Fullman runs a recording studio up in the city of Wilmington, and oftentimes the ciphers of the artists that are participating there, I mean, it's a mirror of what's going on in the city. And I think that if we want to remove the negative connotations of the art form, we have to do something about the structures. The art form is, merely a product of the surrounding social and economic conditions. And so if we want to hear different things, we gotta put our money elsewhere. We have to build housing. We have to have access. We have to have jobs. And ultimately, the art form is going to look a lot differently once those structures are in place. One of my artists at the Creative Vision Factory, when I first met him, he showed me a handwritten newspaper that he had that had 99 unique articles, all damning the social service system. I thought to myself early on when I was under contract with the state to create the Creative Vision Factory that if all were well in our behavioral health system, you wouldn't have a 30-year-old man walking the streets handwriting a newspaper about his treatment, And if we really want to move the needle, we really have to bring him to the table and learn from his perspective. And so, really the artwork gives us a portal into the conditions that are around us, and we have to dig into those deep structural issues if we're ever going to move the needle on the art world.
Thank you. I think we're going to have to move on to the next section, but I'd asked for all of you to think about that question that Jennifer raised, and how can we, as a society, embrace the arts in a way that allow us to have these kind of conversations, also have this knowledge that may not be readily accessible in our public schools, and that the arts allow us to understand and move past the issues. So I want to thank our panelists and our performers.